Hello dear children, welcome you all back to science class. In our last class we have learned about sound made by some of the common objects, and we have also learned about pleasant and unpleasant sound. We have also understood sound made by some of the living beings including animals. In today's class we are going to learn about noise. Now, is there a difference between sound and noise? If so, let's see that now. Now look into this picture here. In all these pictures, we see that there is some kind of unpleasant or loud sound which is produced by a loudspeaker here in the first picture. And this boy has some kind of discomfort due to loud music, as you see here in the second picture, and some kind of discomfort that can be caused due to honking. So such loud and unpleasant sound is called noise. So what is meant by noise pollution? Noise that comes from any source. It can either be from a loudspeaker or because of loud music or because of honking. So it can be noise from any source that causes disturbance or discomfort in the environment. Then we call it as noise pollution. So a loud and unpleasant sound is known as noise, and noise that comes from any source that causes disturbance or discomfort in the environment that we are living around, then that is known as noise pollution. Now, can you think of some of the things around you that produces loud and unpleasant sound? Let's see that now. We will now learn some of the sources of noise pollution. Now look into these pictures here. Here we see different examples of noise. In the first picture we see that continuous honking of vehicles that produces a noise. Same like that, a moving train also produces a loud and unpleasant sound. Therefore we call that as a noise. Noise is also produced by machines, as you see here, that are at work. Now look into these pictures here. Here we see that landing and also taking off of aeroplanes will also produce loud and unpleasant sound. Therefore, these are also examples of noise. In addition to that, loud sound of loudspeakers, televisions, radio and other applications are also examples of noise. As you see here in the picture, bursting crackers will also produce a loud and unpleasant sound. Therefore, this is also a source of noise. So these are some of the sources of noise pollution. Now let us see what are the effects of noise pollution. Now, can you think of what happens when you hear loud and unpleasant sound all throughout the day or for a long period of time? It causes irritation to us, isn't it? Yes, and sometimes we even feel having headache. So the first effect of noise pollution is that it causes irritation, headache and sometimes earring. Now, what would happen if some music is played at the background and you are made to study? Will you be able to do your work properly? Will you not lack concentration in your work that you are doing? Yes. Noise pollution causes lack of concentration in work or in studies. Now, can you imagine what happens when you are sleeping and in the middle of sound you hear a loud and unpleasant sound, or when you hear a loud music? How do you feel? It disturbs your sleep, isn't it? Yes. So the third effect of noise pollution is that loud music played during night disturbs sleep. In addition to that, when you are exposed to noise for a long period of time, it can even cause permanent loss of hearing, which means when you have long exposure to noise pollution, it can even make you deaf. So these are some of the effects of noise pollution. Now, let us learn what are the different ways in which we can reduce noise pollution. One of the important ways in which we can reduce noise pollution is by fitting silencers and soft horns in vehicles. We should also make sure that we do not honk unnecessarily when we are on road, especially with vehicles. We should make sure that we should not play radio, television and stereo system too loudly. Because when you play that too loudly, it causes disturbance to others around us. Also, it is advisable to shift airports and noise making factories away from residential areas of the city. Residential areas are actually places where a lot of people stay. So such noise making factories and airports, when they are shifted from residential areas, it does not cause any disturbance to people. In addition to that, we should always avoid using loudspeakers. We have already learned that loudspeakers produce loud and unpleasant sound. So we should always try not to use loudspeakers. One very important way in which we can reduce noise pollution is by not bursting firecrackers. We all have experienced how loud it is when firecrackers are burnt, isn't it? Yes, so that causes noise pollution. So, not bursting firecrackers will help to reduce noise pollution. In addition to all this, growing more and more trees in the neighborhood is one of the best ways in which we can reduce noise pollution. Because when we grow more and more trees, trees will absorb sound and therefore it reduces noise. So these are some of the simple steps that we can follow in order to reduce noise pollution.